5:30, let's call the meeting to order. Can everyone please stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance? Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The report of action taken from closed session, there was no report of action. That's item 7. Item 8, presentation by Dr. Moran from Crafton Hills College.
Okay, we are excited to have you guys. As the board knows, we entered into a CCAP agreement with Crafton Hills. We go over San Bernardino Valley College. We're now with Crafton Hills, starting for the spring semester. It's a very positive move at this point, where the district is really excited. I know I am. I know Tina and Brian have both done a lot of footwork, working with them, trying to making sure all of our classes are listed, all the things are available for kids. But we invited Dr. Moran up here just to make sure we have an understanding, have a presentation of the board, so we know what it is we're looking at, and a wider picture of, this is moving so fast, a wider picture of dual enrollment. It's moving pretty fast in this, and we're already seeing the impact of who's getting the services, who's taking advantage of the services. But I will go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Moran and present through.
I'll stand here so my back's not to other audience members. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate being able to come up and talk about dual enrollment. Just a little bit about myself, why I'm very passionate about the expansion of this. Prior to coming to Crafton almost 8 years ago, my focus area was on center development in the community colleges. I built 2 centers for the Contra Costa Community College District at 2 different colleges. And I worked at a center for Cal State Hayward. They changed their name while I was there at Cal State East Bay. And this is one part of our mountain initiative, dual enrollment, working with Bear Valley Unified. We're trying to work with Rim of the World as well. But it's more about how do we better serve a community from the community college perspective that has not had a physical presence of the community college in its community. And so this is a little bit about first steps to working towards that. So just a little bit about my background. Did I say next slide, or do you have a clicker?
Make it work.
Okay. Oh, it's a rolling thing. Okay. All right. So just you all have this presentation. I won't read the slide, but we are at a critical point in our nation with college debt. And dual enrollment at its core is the way to make higher education accessible to students at no cost, which is a major game changer for our communities. We can go to the next slide. And it's not about serving the highest prepared student or the most advanced students, those students that we traditionally think like, oh, these are our AP, these are our honor students. It's about serving students who are more vulnerable, as well as those advanced student populations. The high school graduation rate has caught up with the birth rate. All of our school districts have shrunk, and we need to be more efficient across our systems. We've got the K-12 system, the community college system, the CSU, the UC, private partners. So the data here is about, these are students, this reflects the number of full-time equivalent students. That means, it doesn't mean 300 plus students, it means it's probably closer to over 1,000 students that equal a little over 300 full-time equivalent students that live in the mountain community zip codes. And these are broken down by the classes that they're currently taking through Valley and Crafton. And the green line is the total. If you go to the next slide, these are the courses that these students in these zip codes are enrolling in at our 2 colleges. So you can see there's a lot of similarity between them, and there's some differences. There are different programs offered at Valley than there are at Crafton. For instance, fire, EMS, paramedic are only offered at Crafton. They're not at Valley, whereas Valley has a lot more. They have welding, and we don't have welding. And so, but it doesn't mean when we're talking about offering courses up here that we can't offer Valley courses. We have actually Valley courses that we don't have in our books offered in our service area for Crafton. So dual enrollment is a little bit, this is just about access to higher education for our high school student population. And there are three ways that we do dual enrollment. One is standard dual enrollment, where students enroll at Crafton either online or physically at our campus, and they have the same benefits. They don't have to pay fees. The second one is the CCAP agreement, which you so graciously agreed to partner with us on. When the law was changed with CCAP agreements, it means that we could offer courses during the high school day at the high school campus and close those classes just to those high school students. The other option is the third concurrent enrollment option, where we can offer classes at the high schools outside of the school day, but we can't close it to just high school students. They have to be open to the public as well. We've experienced, so I came in 2019 and we really started focusing on our dual enrollment growth. And you can see here, we've gone from 33 sections to, what is the number there? To 253 sections of dual enrollment, which has been a massive amount of growth. We've built a whole infrastructure around it at Crafton. These next slides, I want to highlight, so some people want to know, like, are high school students being successful in these classes? In every respect, high school students are having higher success rates in dual enrollment classes than their full college age counterparts. And that's because they're in the zone. They're working with teachers at the high schools. They're in that learning environment every day, and they're succeeding across the board. So these next sets of slides that my research department put together, and they like to throw fancy words in there about statistically significant and substantially significant, to show that it's not just that our high prepared students or our students are traditionally more likelihood to pursue higher education succeeding, all students. So this goes through and shows that our Hispanic and our Black students are succeeding at an even higher rate than our general dual enrollment population. So this is a very successful tool to create equity and accessibility for higher education. So we can kind of roll through these. I don't want to bore you too much, but these are English 101 and 102. These are two main transfer classes, core classes, and later there's a slide about math 110, which is statistics. These are the biggest barriers for college success. These are where students get hung up and they maybe have trouble passing their classes. And high school students in dual enrollment pass at a higher rate than other students.
Those are pretty
100%
drastic.
for African American.
Yeah.
I know that number is pretty drastic when you're talking about 54% of them
Yeah.
don't.
It's a big. We serve the top 100% in California in the community college systems. So we have last year we graduated a student at Crafton that was 11 years old, and then we also the year before had a graduate that was 81 years old. So we have the whole spectrum at the community college. So this is the math, same thing, showing the success of math, which is the statistics class. There's also a count pathway as well. Again, showing that Hispanic and Black students are succeeding at a higher rate as well. So, what is CalGETC? So the legislature in California likes to tell us what to do. There were two transfer pathways. One was the CSU breadth pathway, and then one was the GETC pathway. Legislature said that's inefficient. We mandate you have one pathway now. Now it's called CalGETC. It went into effect this fall. The benefit of it is that it provides a very transparent pathway for students to finish their 2 years, their lower division 2 years, and be able to cleanly transfer to either the CSU or the UC. There are exceptions, so impacted programs have some higher requirements or additional requirements like nursing and engineering. They have some different requirements, but CalGETC is 90% of what students need to take. Just to give you an example of dual enrollment, my own daughter graduated from Redlands High School this last May. She finished with 33 units of dual enrollment. She's going to graduate this June from Crafton, and she's going to have all of her nursing prereqs in the winter. These are the areas of the CalGETC that match up. They look very similar to your high school A through E.
G.
A through G. A through G requirements. And one of the beauty things about dual enrollment is that you have the ability as a board to set policy to allow dual enrollment classes to count towards high school graduation requirements as well. So it's very efficient for students. They don't take multiple classes to do that. Keep going. Students prefer this because it's a very simple system. It's universal now across our 3 public systems. We took a long time to get here. And a lot of politics and a lot of stuff going on, but it's actually going to be a good thing for our students.
I've
So-
got a question.
Yes, sir.
So I have a senior this year that's putting in for colleges, and a lot of the UCs are saying, yeah, it doesn't matter. If you're in a STEM field, they don't even want you to pursue a CalGETS.
Well, so that's where the additional requirements. So CalGETS-E, you can take, so math is a great example because if you're talking about STEM, you can take Math 110, which is statistics, and satisfy the transfer requirement to the UC. But if you want to be a STEM major, you've got additional math classes that you have to do. You have to do the calc pathway, you have to do the physics pathway, which is not included in the CalGETS. So it's not a catch-all for everything.
Right, but my concern is they're not saying, yeah, take all the GE. You know what I mean? They're just saying, don't do it. So as an example, San Diego, UC San Diego, looking at it for, I think it was computer engineering, and it basically said that yeah, don't even bother, so
it's a little bit of also the 3 systems are fighting with each other.
Yeah.
For the enrollments, they're saying, come to us and do your. You still have to do a bulk of the other general education requirements. They're saying they would like you to take it at the UC for $30,000 a year, rather than to do enrollment for free.
okay,
But they can't deny you the credits.
right.
They can say you need more credits to be an engineering major. We're still not perfect.
I had a
Let's
kid
stay here.
start 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago at Fullerton, and her dual enrollment.
Yeah.
It was
So
awesome.
I'll go back to my daughter wants to be a nurse, and she's done she wants to get her BSN, and 2 of the UCs offer BSN programs. The additional requirements to get into the programs would require 1 more year require 3 years of community college credits to be able to transfer into the UC nursing programs. It's almost the same requirements as going into pre-med.
Are you seeing increased pushback from universities now that this is getting more popular? Are they starting to throw up roadblocks as far as accepting credits, or like you said, the games they play where it's like?
Not so much. I mean, we just had I'm gonna call it an admit on the spot event yesterday at Crafton, and the CSU San Bernardino is hungry for our transfer students. They want those transfer students to come to CSU San Bernardino. You do have competition though when you get into these highly impacted majors or STEM majors, where they have additional requirements. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it makes more sense to me now you said that too, because it benefits them. You're not stealing students that would have existed. You're creating more students for them.
We think so.
So that's a positive.
So just overall, these are round numbers, don't hold me to this, this is the last time I looked at it. There's about 300,000 students at the UC system. There's about 500,000 students in the CSU system. There's almost 2 million students in the community college system. There's not enough seats at the CSU and the UC to house all students that want to be an undergraduate. It's just not possible. The numbers don't add up. We're a critical component of getting students to the CSU and the UC. And students that transfer from the community college to the UC or CSU are more successful. They complete faster and they have higher GPAs.
On that note, do you track your students when they leave? Do you get a sense of what percentage of them do go on to pursue a 4-year degree? versus not?
We do. We can track students that apply to the UC or the CSU, and then we can track much later down the line if they enroll, and then we can see their success rates. It's a little bit of a delayed process. There's a couple of years until we get that data, so it's not an immediate thing. We have a difficult time with private schools because we rely on a different clearinghouse to get the information from them. So if they go to University of Redlands or Cal Baptist University or what have you, it's a little more difficult to track that.
Do you know that number or have a general guess? Would you say half go on to a 4-year or a quarter go on to a 4-year? Or?
Of our students, well, that's a difficult question to ask because
Because when do
not
they do
all of our academic programs are meant for transfer.
Oh, that's true.
So we also have large workforce programs that are, 1 semester to 2 years that are meant to go right into the workforce.
Right.
So I can get back to you with that number. I can send it to Mandy,
Yeah, just
but
curious.
it's not a straightforward number to report.
I think that's a big subsection of kids, or kids who want to use it as a less expensive and more convenient way to get into the 4-year school. And it'd be interesting to know that stat so you can sell it to people that way.
I probably could answer that better by going to like CSU San Bernardino and saying, how many transfer students do you accept each year versus
Right.
freshmen?
Right.
And the numbers are going to be more transfer students than freshmen.
Yeah.
I know even at UCLA, when we did a campus tour there, the admit rate for transfer students, it was like 60%. It was super high.
And we have programs at Crafton like the Honors Institute, which many community colleges have, which is governed through the University of California. It's designed to be a transfer tool. At Crafton, in the Inland Empire, we're the #1 transfer institution to the UC, percentage-wise. We transfer more students that apply and are admitted than the rest of the colleges, community colleges in the Inland Empire. So I want to talk about minimum qualifications because one of the challenges with offering dual enrollment is about staffing those classes. High schools operate on a 5-day-a-week schedule. We have different academic calendars. Our faculty generally teach 2 days a week when they teach a class, and a lot of times those two systems just don't match up really well. And so we're able to work it creatively by pairing classes on a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule and figuring out creative ways to supervise students on Fridays, but it's not the perfect system. We realize that there are gaps in it. And what we're trying to do is build a pathway for more K-12 teachers to teach the dual enrollment classes. That's our goal. That's the model we see that's going to be the most successful because your teachers are already employed with you. They are already experts at working with this age group, and many of them have met the minimum qualifications for us. MQs for us in the community college system are set by the state. There's a standard manual, minimum qualifications for teaching at a California community college. And if you roll to the next slide, it just says we're responsible for monitoring this, and there are penalties if you don't. This is an example. English, so this is one of the most popular dual enrollment classes we offer. This is what the master's minimum qualifications for English reads in that manual. And if any word is different in either the combination of these, let's say they have a master's in education, they have the ability to go through an equivalency process to see if their master's of education is aligned with the degree requirements that are outlined here. We have a district-wide equivalency committee, and they look at it. A lot of times, these masters of education have been very popular with the graduate schools. They don't have enough discipline content in them to meet the MQs because we literally look at transcripts, how many courses they take in X subjects for like each. But if you move to the next slide, we're trying to be very creative. So we've been working with CSU San Bernardino in their graduate studies program to look at how we can incentivize teachers to look at if they don't already qualify to teach dual enrollment classes or whatever their discipline is, if we can incentivize teachers in your district to go and earn their master's degree. Right now we're exploring a program, it's not really set, but we're looking at trying to provide we have CSU San Bernardino engaged, and they want to do this. And English was the department that's most willing to play with us right now. They're willing to give teachers, K-12 teachers, credit for some of their work in their credential program, potentially if they already have a master's in like education, towards their graduate degree in English. And then we have acquired some grant money where we can provide a stipend that would essentially pay for the remaining units that would be 1 year's worth. Now, not everyone wants to go to the CSU, and we understand that. Maybe they're online at the University of Nebraska. That's the reality. So right now, we're working on a proposal with our dual enrollment committee. It's made a recommendation that we provide a similar stipend with agreement that they would teach dual enrollment classes at their school site if we provide the stipend to earn their master's. So this is something that we're exploring to try to build that pipeline of K-12 teachers.
And CSU, like for something like that, let's say for English, most of the classes, would they be available online for our teachers?
That's the part we're not quite sure yet. Like, so we're trying to do something really innovative, and we've talked to them about the barriers of our rural communities, our mountain communities. So this is a really thought-leading way of trying to build the K-12 pipeline. We're doing something very different than other districts are doing. And that's kind of the gist of it. So I'm happy to answer any additional questions you might have.
So are all of our classes now going to be coming through Crafton, or are some still going to be coming from San Bernardino?
So we, as a district, made the decision to transfer the responsibility to Crafton to run those courses. Now, if Bear Valley wants to offer a course that's not in our catalog, something that's only offered at Valley, say like hospitality, culinary, or something like that, we would work with Valley to offer that class up here as well.
Are all the GETC classes available to our students through right now? Through the program?
The Cal GETC classes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, through the cohort.
Right. And
Not just the cohort, any student can sign up for
how many,
classes.
and then how many of those Cal GETC are actual teachers in classrooms teaching the class?
You mean employed with you,
Yes.
your district? Is it 3 out of the 5 this coming spring?
Right now it is two, and then the bio and the world history is going to be through the track.
Is Matt and Joe?
Joe Bradley
And Matt plus?
no, Schweitzer, or Stench.
And do we have any other?
But he's not our employee, he's
He's not our employee, but he's the
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that was the person.
He's
in the
one of our people.
He's,
Yeah,
we consider him live. We
count him as ours.
consider live in the classroom.
Yeah.
We can. That's what we like to give the kids live in the classroom. You know, Brian and I had a great conversation with one of our cohorts on that, our sophomore cohort, and they were great. You know, and of course they said, yeah, we'd rather have our teacher. You know, but at the same time, we still want dual enrollment. You know?
Right, and we value those same things as well. We think in-person classes are most beneficial. Online asynchronous can be beneficial as well for creating access, but it's a little different. It's a little bit of a different learning environment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew Wilson.
I was gonna say, is Andrew.
So 2.5 for
Right.
ours.
Are there any other perspectives out there that are,
Yes, there's one teacher right now working on his master's for history.
okay,
There's been questions, and you know, we had that conversation, you know, about, it used to be in the past, I think, you know, Mr. Roberts and I have even had this conversation going in the past, when Leanne and I went to school and everyone else, you know, it was encouraged, oh, if you're gonna get something, get your master's, get your admin, okay. Not everybody goes into admin. Right now, we really need to start having conversations with our younger staff, hey, if you're gonna go into something that's gonna help us and you and students long term. You can get a master's in your field, whether it's math or English or whatever it might be. Looking at craft and looking at course catalogs, what could I qualify under, or they know the minimum qualifications. And we have that conversation with them, and even making that part of Brian making that part of his presentation when we're hiring new teachers, and hey, just so you know, this is a pathway that you guys really have to consider that with all of these brand new teachers when we bring them in. It changes our world a little bit because we've gone through our list trying to see who has a master's in what, and so many people just, when we were encouraged to get a master's in admin. and that's just kind of a thing of the past. If you really wanna go into and get a principalship or something, yeah, we do that. But now we're looking at, even if, we try to encourage even some of our more seasoned teachers going, this gives you a foot in the door at the college and retirement as well. If you have a retirement gig, if you wanna do something past retirement, still be able to teach, you still be able to teach adjunct with colleges. Trying to look at it for their own benefit as well. Some of them it's, they're not doing school anymore, but we're trying to start as many conversations and really change people's thinking on this. This is probably one of the hardest hits at education that we've seen in our public school since throwing technology on one-to-one on kids, is this kind of move. It's an adjustment for everybody.
Yeah.
It is, but it's been good. We've had a really good path though. We're feeling like we're on a really good path right now with Crafton Hills. So.
I would say our region, and many of you know this, the San Bernardino County has one of the lowest college going rates in the entire state of California. We're on an unapologetic mission to change that, and we have to bootstrap it. We have to think differently. We have to do it from within, because no one's coming in to help us out.
Do teachers get stipends?
So if it's an employee of Bear Valley, they actually work for us while they're teaching the class, so they get compensated for that class from Crafton Hills College or San Bernardino Community College District, in addition to what they're being paid for being a K-12 teacher. So it's a wonderful opportunity for K-12 teachers.
If it's a flat rate, it's not based on the number of students they service?
It's not based on the number of students, it's based on a couple other, it's based on their years of experience as they fall on our pay scale. They're much like your scale, which
Right.
column, how many units do they have, and that's how the scale is set.
It might be hard to say, but how long do you think you're away from that process of being able to support teachers that want to get their advanced degree?
I think beginning this, we're very close to getting agreement on being able to provide a stipend, starting potentially in the spring, or at the latest summer. The partnership with CSU San Bernardino is very complex, and I'm not sure if that's going to come together. We're having great conversations with them, but it's a big change for them too. And so they're thinking about, also the CSU is getting savvier about dual enrollment, and they're seeing maybe that's a way we can recoup some of our enrollment losses. The number is something like, of the 23 CSUs, only 6 or 7 of them met their enrollment goals.
Really?
That's because they're more expensive, they're not as geographically available as the community colleges, and so we're great partners with the CSU. We couldn't exist without them, but they're trying to also figure out their house as well.
We talked about centers and some of the,
Yes.
to make it accessible, and it's a challenge for us. For RAM, they're 20 minutes down the hill. We talked about Lucerne who has access to Victor. For us, it's a little bit more of a challenge and a little dangerous for students during the winter. What would it take? What kind of numbers would you need to see for a center for Big Bear to have a center? What would cause that interest to happen?
It's a great question. There's not really a firm number. It's a number where we can't lose money. So it depends on, are we leasing facilities? How much does that cost? The cost of having the staff that keep the center open, the support services, and what's that number of students that we have enrolled. So I'm not so concerned about it being huge or small, but I do have to look at an operation that isn't in a negative. Now initially, when we start, because we have a long-term vision of potentially having a physical space up here somewhere, whether we're leasing facilities, we're buying land and building our own facilities, we're gonna end up, I think, with a physical presence up here. And I see that including the dual enrollment partnership. So it's I don't have a straightforward answer for you, but it doesn't have to be huge. Some of our centers, the 116, 17 community colleges, I believe there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 centers in addition to that. Some of them are tiny, maybe annually 200 full-time equivalent students. Some of them are the size of medium-sized colleges. The 2 centers that I oversaw in the Contra Costa County had 3,000 students each of them. One of them started in an old grocery store. We renovated an old abandoned grocery store. Started with 4 classrooms, expanded. By the time we left it, when we built our permanent campus, we had 12 or 13 classrooms and a biology lab. So, but our mission is to be accessible to the communities. And right now, historically, we haven't been accessible to the mountain communities, and I want to change that.
What's the smallest center that you've ever experienced or know about?
It's gonna be around 150, 200 full-time equivalent students annually. The magic number for community colleges is 500, because if you get to 500 and you have your own facilities or you have land and you plan to build a home facility, you get an additional allocation from the state called basic portion. So you get center status, and right now that's about $1.5 million, and that usually covers the operational costs of the center. You're able to go out. So it's a community college system's way of continuing to be accessible to our rural communities.
So,
Do you have an abandoned building somewhere? Used for free?
Good talk.
It's tongue in cheek, I know you.
no.
But we are going to be the next step for us. Right now, we're focused on launching successfully dual enrollment program transition from Valley to Crafton. But we are very interested in moving forward and talking with the larger community about what potential partnerships there are available with other employers, what programs we would need to bring up here to meet the most community need, and are there facilities that we can partner on, acquire, long-term plan for. That's the next step for us. Those are our conversations that are going to start happening this spring.
I think tailoring a unique curriculum to up here would be advantageous too. There's always been a lot of talk about if you build it, they will come, meaning that there are probably a lot of kids that would come up and want to enjoy the mountains and go to college in a place like this and study forestry and study ski resort management. Hospitality, that's what I was trying to think
Fire
of. Closed
technology,
session.
Culinary.
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
And there might be just already, there are students, there are adults in the community who'd like to go back.
Oh,
to
for sure,
school.
that's what I was thinking.
Right.
There's an untapped potential up here.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you can't tell, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah,
There is,
we are
because
too.
no matter what, there's a lot of students who still don't have a comfort level online, believe it or not.
Yeah. The world changed post-COVID. We went from 20% online courses to 49, 40, almost 50% online, and that's kind of the new normal. And what we're seeing is that it's a combination for schedule flexibility of students that can maybe do one or two classes in person, but they're picking up 1 or 2 online as well.
It's fascinating to see the statistics that they always roll out as far as the expectations for people who haven't graduated high school, have graduated high school, have got 2-year degree, 4-year degree. And when you can get it mostly free of charge or get a great head start on it versus the outcomes that you see for those people, I mean, I would think any parent, if they actually looked at the numbers of what happens, would want that for their child. I think the expense has been the big hurdle in the past, and this kind of alleviates, lowers that hurdle a good amount.
You're going to spend a little over $1,600 for full load of classes at a community college for a year. You're going to spend $16,000 at a CSU, and you're going to spend close to $40 at UC.
It's only 7 at a CSU for tuition, and it's 14, 15 at a UC for tuition. Now, if you want to put housing and stuff in there because it's not near home,
That's the big
then
expense.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
where the
jumping
big
back
California.
for any students up here. That includes housing.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you just the
Unless
housing
Jack
bill,
drives
like,
you down.
Yeah. well, I drive my son to Crafton twice a week. The CSUs, and UCs across the board, it's $20,000 for a dorm. It's crazy.
So now where it is?
Yeah, so UCLA might be 23, and
Yeah.
The variance is the food program.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
Required.
yeah, which is required. So, believe it or not, I was a knucklehead in high school, and I did not do well on a few classes. So I had to recover some credit by taking college classes, and I did so at Big Bear High School at night classes. I would like to see that as an option too. not just,
And that's one of the three options. where
right,
we
exactly,
offer
the concurrent one.
At your site, just outside of the school day.
Would that be a good way to start as far as our growth is concerned?
It absolutely could be, yeah, it would be a great partnership, and looking at, you know, the logistics of facility usage, access, how that works, you know, every building's laid out a little differently, and we're having the same conversations with Room of the World too, about can we offer classes to the community at some of their facilities as well.
This is one of the things like Brian and I had discussed, you know, with one of our pathways trying to focus on healthcare, is being able to offer like, because you have to be 18 to take an EMT class, but being able to offer an EMT as a 7 period, so some of our 18-year-olds could take it, but offer it as concurrent, meaning community members could do it as well, would be a huge plus for a lot of us.
Yeah. And there's, we have a shortage of EMTs and paramedics in our region, and we're trying to lift that up big time. Exactly.
So what would be the next steps in being able to offer night classes? You know, I know
Probably a
it's not-
conversation, might be sitting down with Manny, laying out what our needs are, where we see, getting a better feel of what classes would be needed with the community, and just experiment and moving forward. So we can build it in flight. We don't have to be perfect when we start.
But we can just create the interest.
I do see, I mean, when I review the data, when I look at the demographics, when I do the labor market analysis, there's an unmet need here in the mountain communities. And I think there's a substantial case to create a center of it. Where it's located, I don't live up here, I don't know the traffic patterns, I don't know anything about, you know, is it on the east end, the west end, I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter where it ends up, as long as you don't have to drive an hour to it.
Yep.
Yeah, it took me an hour and 10 minutes to get up here, no traffic. And there was snow, so it was getting higher up.
Yeah, both the high school principal and I started our education that way, through taking night school at San Marino Valley College and then driving down the hill.
Yeah.
Because it was started old, so there was just a little bit of hybrid at the time, that they still made us go down the hill quite a bit.
But there was a chunk of classes that were
There was a
offered, like a
chunk
lot
of
of
classes.
diversity.
Yeah.
I did all my
remember a
child
lot of-
development classes up here.
There was a period of time where, starting in, really the big hit came in 2008, and there was a big contraction in the community college system, and they started pulling back in classes. You know, where we're like 1.8 million, 1.9 million now, almost 2 million, we were like 2.4, 2.5 million at one point. And so it's shrunk, and so those types of programs got pulled back, but we're seeing now that we need to reinvest in those same type of efforts.
Any other questions?
Thanks for making the drive.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Absolutely,
up.
please know, I'm
That's
happy to
great.
come back up and provide more information. We're really excited about this partnership. We're really excited about how well the staff worked with our staff at the high school to make this work. And it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a very positive thing going forward. I love coming up to the mountains, I'm a mountain guy. I grew up in Reno and like Tahoe, so it feels homey to me, so.
We really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
have one last question. Several months ago, San Bernardino Valley came up and gave us a presentation. One of the questions we asked was how are specifically our kids doing? I mean, you showed some slides where generally how dual enrollment.
Yeah, I
kids
can
are
pull
doing.
that data.
We'd really like to see that.
What I can show you is, you mean, let me just clarify, students that are enrolled in Bear Valley or, we're enrolled and we're taking dual enrollment at the same.
Both.
That'd be great if we could get both,
Yeah.
but specifically, we don't, because the FERPA form or whatever,
No,
we
we
don't get the grades, we don't know how the kids are doing unless they send them to the counselor to.
I can absolutely provide you an overview, similar kinds of statistics in a general sense, based on just Bear Valley. I can do it by zip code, and I can do it by students that attended Bear Valley High School District.
perfect, and then maybe we could just keep contact with Brian, cause you don't need to come in here and present, but
Yeah.
Brian could just present the information.
I told my boss, anytime the meetings will be earlier though. I can go skiing the rest of the day.
Wild
We could erase
In
that.
January and February for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of business.
Well, also in the summer months I ride a mountain bike too. So
Yeah.
So on that, you're just talking data for students that are at Crafton. Is there any way to pull it for?
I can pull it for the whole district.
Okay, so even if the kid is taking a class at Victor Valley or
Oh
Barstow?
no, I'm sorry, San Bernardino district. I can
Yeah.
pull it. I can't get the data.
And those data don't talk.
No, but I mean, I know President Dan Walden at Victor Valley, they have a research office. If you wanted to make a request to Victor Valley and say, we're very interested to see how our students that either graduated and went to Victor Valley or took dual enrollment online through Victor Valley, what their success rates. But that would be a request you would.
Because we do have some kids, because of it being, I don't know if you know that, it's 45 minutes of a windy road down the front way. It's 10, 12 minutes down a windy road down the back way.
Yeah.
That's why some students go to Victor's.
Shanae's not believing your 12-minute estimate.
I mean,
I the first time in.
I drive it every day. I can tell you, my best time is 8.5.
That's
too fast.
I said it out loud.
that's using the cambers.
Dang, I know which behind me.
I will say that ultimately, like Victor Valley College, Barstow College, all of as a CEO, I meet monthly with the CEOs. We all have the same mission. We want our region to be better off, and if the students, for whatever reason, are going to Victor Valley, we support that. What we want to do is make it most accessible to Big Bear and the other surrounding mountains. So I don't feel bad if students go. Victor Valley's doing some great things. They're growing like gangbusters. There's housing up there is affordable. It's available. So
Next time you meet with the CEO from Victor Valley, you should talk to them about their enrollment process for our students. It is streamlined and.
I'm gonna let you fight that battle.
No, I don't need to fight it.
Oh, you like their own process?
It's
Oh yeah.
so much better than yours.
They do. You're absolutely right. We've actually talked with them about their new enrollment center that they started about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're doing some wonderful things.
As an example, I
Yeah.
just did dual enrollment forms for my 2 high school kids this week. Well, only had to do them for one, the one that's going to your school. Victor Valley, they just get it, the student hashes it out with the counselor. It doesn't have to come to the parent for a signature, which mine from Crafton went right to the junk mail, so.
The law changed recently. If a student has been enrolled and the first time they go through dual enrollment, they have to have a parent approval. The law just recently changed that if they enroll again, it doesn't need to go back to the parent.
So that's a recent thing.
It's a recent thing. It's within the last 6 months.
Wow.
So I shouldn't have to sign it again if my student remains a Crafton Hills college
Correct.
student.
And if they are, let me know and I'll look into that very specific case because it's a glitch.
Okay.
You heard
Thank you.
Thank you again for having me.
Great, thanks for coming out.
Not staying for your entire. It's a pleasure. It was good chatting with you.
All right, thank you very much.
Nice to meet you too. Okay. I'm heading out. Hi, friends.
I'm Bill leaving too.
And before I really do want to thank Brian, because Brian's really worked closely with him. He hasn't had to work with Kevin, but who's it? Did you work mainly with Brian?
Dr. Works.
Dr. Work.
He's
And
the vice president.
yeah, he's vice president. So is Tina. Tina and Brian have worked seamless, where they haven't been coming. I know what this was like before, and it's been fairly seamless. Brian's not coming to me pulling his hair out trying to say, well, this is.
We're meeting with them every other
Constant.
week, just almost just to check in. And this last week, we were all on the Zoom, and we're like, everyone good? Like there was nothing, and we asked Kat, because Kat was there as well, about the enrollment, because that was such a headache for San Bernardino Valley College. So, yeah, kids are enrolled, we're fine, ready to go.
It's
Right, It's
So great.
I almost
it's
feel like,
unbelievable they're in the same district.
I almost
It
feel
really
like,
is.
okay, Brian didn't pay his dues and suffer through it. I feel like
He's like, what are you guys talking about?
this is easy, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. Nope.
What's Kevin's title?
Kevin's president.
President,
He is.
He's the president.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
thanks a lot, Brian,
Yeah.
It's we really appreciate the work that Brian and Tina have put into it. Tina has worked hard on it too, you know, her counseling background she really kicks into and the counselors and everybody. And it's been fairly seamless for people. Like I said, I'm not hearing, oh, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem.
What's our number at as far as number of students that are taking at least one class?
157.
157?
About a
So-
quarter of the
Do
school.
you know how many
That's
classes,
more than a
like
quarter.
total, whatever you call them,
Wow.
full-time equivalents, or like,
I'm
many
not
total?
familiar with that number. I
yeah,
can
it's
see
still
if I can find it.
157.
But-
That's crazy.
and that's counting all the colleges or only Grafton?
That's anyone that's enrolling through us. Like, cause if someone just goes out and signs.
We don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the ones going
Yeah.
through us specifically.
That's a quarter of the school.
The reason I ask is Jesse's taking.
Yeah, something like that we wouldn't be able to,
And then in the
So
next
it's
2 years.
157
plus one.
through just Grafton and San Bernardino Valley.
And that's just gonna increase we have 2 cohorts going now, by the time we have another cohort, that's gonna be a lot of students within the next 2 years.
Well,
It's gonna increase.
It's true, but that cohort accounts for between 60 and 70 kids, right? Right now. That
That's
means
taking one course.
80 other kids are taking classes.
They're taking other classes.
Well, that's why I don't think you can find another program at Big Bear High School that involves a quarter of the population.
Yeah.
Find the most popular program there, outside of the core class it runs to take, right?
Yeah.
There's not another program that encompasses a quarter of the entire school.
It's gonna be real interesting with the student tracker, to watch the student tracker over the next few years, if we're even still doing that, to see if our number of students or percentage of students going to two-year college goes up.
And we had a
I mean,
long conversation about that.
Four-year college, but two-year college obviously is gonna go
Well,
up. So we're
but-
at 157 going on their own.
With my kids, if they're looking at, okay, should I take the high school class or take a college class? And if it meets the CalGETC or GE requirements, then, okay, I'm gonna take the college class. Jesse's gonna have like 70 units done when he graduates in May.
Wow.
They're gonna be, you only need a few extra classes to get an associate's degree.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's available for every kid,
Yeah.
every kid, the poorest, the richest, whatever, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Alright,
Okay.
we wanna move on?
Let's move on to register.
Alright, we don't have any cards, right? So let's move on to the consent calendar, and get a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved. Oops, I
Second.
was late. Second.
Okay, I wanted to pull one of the, I think it's I'm sorry,
That's not on the consent calendar.
it's not on the revisions to the,
Board policy update.
board policy updates, okay, then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? No items removed, so employee announcements, Mr. Montes.
Okay, we have a few classified employees which we're excited about, always, this one's very rare that we see a bus driver, Chastity Stansvik. We are thrilled to announce a fantastic addition to our transportation team. Chastity has successfully completed our rigorous bus driver certification program and has officially joined us as a bus driver. Her dedication and hard work throughout the training process were evident, and we are confident that she will be a great asset in ensuring the safety and reliable transportation of our students. Please join us in welcoming Chastity. I know Sean's put a lot of time into this, weekends, things like that, to making sure we're trying to get another one. We're still trying to get Sean out of a bus. I think this might do it for a minute, because that guy's trying to manage the department and drive a bus, train them and everything. So hats off to him for getting this done, because we know what it's like trying to get bus drivers anywhere. I was just reading more statistics on that today, that it's not getting any better as far as nationwide a bus driver shortage, and how many districts are having to cut bus services altogether. Okay, we have an instructional aide at North Shore Elementary, Dana Cisneros. Dana is the newest addition to the North Shore Elementary team, joining as an instructional aide. She brings a strong background in paraeducation, having previously worked in similar support roles where she gained valuable experience assisting teachers and students. Dana is deeply committed to supporting the diverse needs of students, and she is looking forward to making a positive impact on the learning environment at North Shore. Her enthusiasm and dedication make her a wonderful asset to our school community, so congratulations North Shore on her. Special education aide at Big Bear Middle School, Elizabeth Schlenker. Hopefully I got that one right. We are pleased to introduce Elizabeth, who is joining Big Bear Middle School as a special education aide. Elizabeth is passionate about education and is actively pursuing her teaching credential in California. Her commitment to professional growth and her desire to work with students with special needs aligns perfectly with our district's values. By joining Bear Valley Unified School District team, Elizabeth will gain practical hands-on experience that will be invaluable as she works towards her goal of becoming a fully credentialed teacher. We are excited to support her in her professional journey and watch her grow with Bear Valley. So it's exciting that we have another, that's always exciting, another special education.
Yeah, Elizabeth is a fully credentialed special education teacher in Idaho,
Oh.
but because she moved here, she's just getting the requirements to get a California credit.
We have been very, very fortunate with that because so many districts are desperately looking for special education teachers.
Yeah.
We had quite a few positions to pull last year. We have some floaters out there right now still that are looking to within the district that are either working on their credential or have their credential. So we have lined up just in case. So we feel safe in that spot, considering the fact that unfortunately special education keeps growing. It's, we're constantly analyzing it. It's a constant conversation for us. So that's my additions.
Alright, now it's still you.
Still me, got to just Okay, just wanted to mention we got to go down to Fallsville to see their. I got to do a Fallsville visit, spending time with Shannon. I want to give a shout out to Shannon, who Shannon Burke. She's doing a really good job. That girl's a learner. She's a young administrator in our district, and she's constantly trying to improve. She wants the best for Fallsville, and I love the way she's always looking for new information and really wants to be the best for our district and wants to give everything she can. So a huge shout out to her. But I got to see the turf down there, and it just looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing as far as a turf that they've never had there before in the history of that school. Those kids have been skidding on dirt for decades, and it really is wonderful. So I want to thank the board, I want to thank everybody. We did use a little bit of the money from there, just from the Grace Stokes donation. Didn't cover all of it, but covered some of it from their Grace Stokes donation from that community member down there. But it provided something for those kids that is just amazing. I mean, it seems like all kids should have grass at their schools. It was something very hard to accomplish there. New York, yeah, like you said, New York. Exactly. I did go to the E3 forum, which is the small school districts forum. They run these little forums every now and then. Jess has gone to one before for CBOs. I went to this one was on facilities. Really a lot of good information talking about Prop 2, how we utilize this, making sure we're in a good place. We're actually, once I realized where we were at compared to everyone sitting in the room, Jess has us in a good place where we've already applied for Prop 2 money to try to get refunded for Prop 2 money. So we're in a good place. When they asked who's applied, I was one of only 2 people in the room that raised our hand that have already applied for Prop 2 money. A lot of districts have not even done that yet. So we're all kind of waiting. There is Prop 2 money though that's specifically earmarked for small school districts. The question is it's not as big of a pot of money, and do you pull yourself in a line here and put yourself in line here for a smaller district, and then for the small district money that's separated for you, for us, but so they're still trying to weed through that information. They really are a good organization that focuses in on what's going to support us. With all of our building, we've had so many conversations. There was a great guy there. The topic when we were talking about bathrooms and everything, talking about using containers as classrooms. That was a challenge. It was a challenge for Terry, it was a challenge for me, it was a challenge for Craig. Just all of us trying to find somebody that could do this. Either they didn't want to touch DSA, or they went out of business too fast. This new company, I'm trying to remember, Conic something, but they are specifically coming in trying to target classrooms. Trying to get a pre-built classroom approved by DSA. It would be 3 units put together. They were really promising. Had a long conversation with him, especially considering they also sell refrigeration units. So meaning the Connex kind of looking refrigeration units, we know we're gonna have to look at what we do with CNS, with, with child nutrition services. He had a good conversation on what he could do with that as well, combining those units and doing something special for us there. Might save us some money there, might create a great unit, and it's these are longer lasting units than trying to put in a portable. It was what they do, so it was exciting. He's waiting, he's looking at probably May, by the time he has a pre-built, pre-approved form, standard pre-approved form for a classroom that should just be ready to go, that's already pre-approved by DSA. So I thought that was exciting. There was a lot of things that needs to be formed. I would like to mention on the same topic though, in March, I'm going to this CSD conference for the small school districts. We had that conversation this morning on my roundtable with them, because we do that weekly. I do want to encourage the board, if a board member wants to go. It really is, they really are trying to focus on everything for us, and it makes sense. You get to meet people that are having the same issues as ours. And like this morning, I was the big dog in the room, and we went broke out because I was a guy with 2,200. Meanwhile, the superintendent's telling me 187 kids, I got 300 kids, I was the big dog. But these are really small school districts trying to do a lot with very, very little. So a lot of them are, to some of those other school districts, are taking their board members to Sacramento in March. Now, I would like, before I make a decision, I'm hoping, I did kind of grill them this morning, looking for a breakdown of the schedule of what their breakout sessions look like, what the whole thing looks like. Once I have that, because it's not until March, I will share that with the board. That way, if any board member is interested in going to the small school districts conference, I would encourage you to do so.
Do they have a get together at CSBA
Yes, they do.
by chance? They have a,
Yes,
we
they
go
do.
to that?
So we will go to that.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a night thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So we will go. I think that was luncheon.
Okay.
I think it's one that Jack and I tried to sneak in, and I think we got kicked out because we were in pre-reserve.
For the lunch.
Yes.
But then later we hung out with several of them.
Several of them.
Yeah.
There's a guy Yuri there, and this guy Yuri Calderon. He's extremely. Got to talk to him. He's the one that runs it. An extremely passionate person with small districts. Their whole goal is to lobby for small districts, lobby for the fact that our requirements are out of control. You're asking the same of us that you're asking for 30,000 people district. You're asking us to do these, what's this called, the LCAP, all those requirements and everything with a smaller staff. So they're really lobbying for small districts, because when we talk about it online, they go, okay, go lobby for this now, go lobby for this, and they report back every time where they're at with it.
How do they get their money? Do you have to belong to the association and they use that money?
This year we didn't pay. San Bernardino County is one of the counties that came in
Paid for it?
and paid for everybody.
That's great.
They paid for everyone. Like they even allowed and paid for RIM to join in. RIM is not considered a small school district, because small school district stops at the 2,500. But they allowed RIM in, because I see him at a lot of the meetings, superintendent there. So he gets involved too because of the value of it. I'm finding more and more value. Laura goes on to meetings as well too sometimes, and even we're looking at board policies because they're creating a board policy program. We're so much with CSBA sometimes, but talking to them, they're going like, there's only 8, so many policies, like 60 policies that we have to have. Some of it else, we don't have to have some of these policies in place. So we're really trying to partner with them a lot more, and I have Laura have a conversation and partner with them to be able to understand, so we don't have so much heavy oversight with some of this stuff. But as soon as we have the list of what the breakout sessions will be, we'll share with everyone if anyone's interested as well, okay? And then I have ACT meeting tomorrow. I'm meeting with those students again. I will tell you that with the ACT, that was the students that presented, they are extremely interested in pursuing the conversation about having a student board member. The beauty of it is this, they're all 12th graders. It doesn't even affect them. These are all 12th graders who are exiting. But they want to set up a standard. They really want to set up a standard for student voice. But they said, because I told them, I said, we'll go through the information. This is what I'm helping them with. I'm going to present some information tomorrow. This is what it would look like. But they said, we want to understand it because this was their idea completely. Love these kids, right? Their idea completely, that they want to come to the board and present. And that way they are informed. They know what's being asked of them, and we have an understanding, and then the board can further a discussion at that point, what that might look like for us coming as a student board member, what the requirements requirements would be, and I'm gonna put a bunch of stuff in front of them and make them truly, they wanna understand it, though they're asking me for information, that way they can understand for future generations of students to be a part of this, to increase their student voice. Excited about meeting with them. And then the CSBA conference is coming up quick here, so we have it at the beginning, and I think I'm going, Paul, Jack, you're going, everyone's going? Steve's going, okay, we've all made our flights, so I think we're all set to go. But otherwise, that's it.
Thank you. Governing board member reports, do you have anything this morning?
No.
The only thing I wanted, we had a great presentation on dual enrollment, and I know it's been a ton of work and wailing and gnashing of teeth, but it's such an awesome opportunity for our kids. So Brian, to me, it's really important. I'm seeing the fruits of it with, 3 of my kids that have done it, and I'm excited about it and excited about the opportunity. So thank you very much. It's such a cool program, and the opportunities that the kids have, it's second to none. I mean, it's offering something that we couldn't afford to do. It's an avenue of, whether it be CTE or just a broad spectrum of courses that allows kids to pursue what they want, and they get to pick. So it's great. So thank you very much.
One, so much credit goes to the high school team. I mean, the labor that's going into Tina, Cat Williams, I mean, that's
Cat
really
Williams just keeps
where
stepping
the
up.
thanks is due, the teachers that are going through all the hurdles to get their minimum qualifications met. I mean, all the credit rests with the high school because they're really just putting in an exceptional amount of work to make it happen.
So please pass on my appreciation to the
Pass on the whole board.
Yeah, I think it's exciting too, that just the confidence of getting out of high school, knowing that it is within their reach and it is possible. Even if they just got 1 class, 2 classes, they got registered, they got through a class, it's within reach. The more the better though.
Well, yeah, they know what to expect. A lot of kids, I've seen it, since my kids have been going to the schools here for a while. You see it where they're on the ski team with them and stuff. They go from the high school to college and they're swamped. They can't keep up. They don't know what to expect. No. It's good. All right, next is item 14, reading and adoption of the governing board policy updates. Did you, in item A or B, should I?
In item A.
Okay. One of the policies I want to pull, because it has to do with the court decision on Mahmoud versus Taylor, which was the LGBTQ storybooks, and I'm fine with everything except for what CSBA is asking to be done. Is the last bit of it is requires a parent or guardian requesting who is requesting that the parent or guardian student be opted out of instruction based on religious beliefs, customs, or practices submit specified information, and then from there it permits the superintendent or designee to work with legal counsel to evaluate each request to determine whether it be granted. The problem I have with that is superintendent, even if it's a designee, doesn't need to be getting in the weeds like that. If someone wants to have their kid accepted from that curriculum, okay, why would we want to fight them on that? Why would we want to put them through the ringer of submitting specifics on customs of their religion or beliefs that preclude their kid from taking?
We can rework the policy as far as the whole policy, because the whole policy is bad, but that portion of it is something we'd like to remove. That is our right to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything? No? All right.
So should I make the motion to adopt with the exception of that one policy, which will come back for an additional first reading or second reading?
It is two policies, it's the board policy and the administrative regulation.
Okay. So I'll make the motion to adopt all the policies with the exception of the one that was mentioned and the AR that goes along with it, which will come back for a second reading.
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
Second, Sudi second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed? And first reading of the board meeting calendar.
Just a normal calendar that we have to put out ahead of time to make sure we know when
So
organization
moved.
meetings are.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed? Curriculum and instruction, CTE facility program grant application. Is that you, Manny, or?
I'm gonna actually go ahead and turn that over to Brian and have him discuss that.
Yeah, as a part of that Proposition 2, the state has released about $300 million that can be used for CTE facilities. So we brought this to the board a couple months ago of, what direction we'd like to go, and the board decided that the patient care route was the way to go. So we wrote the grant, we assembled an advisory team, which we met this past week, which had representatives from Big Bear Fire, Bear Valley Community Hospital District. We had Big Bear Mountain Resort, or Bear Mountain Resort Ski Patrol, as well as our high school staff that's in the patient care pathway. We built up a schematic that is attached to the grant, which is 2 classrooms as well as a simulation lab that can also be used as an athlete treatment area. And we're submitting that grant to the state. The grant is due to the state by December 1st. The only piece we're waiting on is we have letters of support from Crafton, Big Bear Fire, and Ski Patrol. We're still waiting on one from the hospital. And so we'll submit that once we receive all the components, hopefully next week. And the critical component of that is the board approval of the application.
So we're excited about that one. They did discuss that one at SSDA as well, and saying, hey, there may not be that many people applying for this, so we hope that you're having a really good shot at this. Just remember, it is the match grant, so we applied for the 2.5, and we would have to have, match an additional 2.5.
So
we applied for $5 million.
Is the thought that it's gonna be an expansion of the MedCore we have, or partnership with dual enrollment, or?
It's gonna be both. Right now, we stayed a little bit conservative in the numbers that we're serving in the grant. We said we'd be serving 85 to 100 students a year, which is not too far off what Lisa Griffith is servicing right now. But Crafton has already committed to expanding the dual enrollment in the patient care arena. There's 2 main areas they can support us in. One is CNA or home health aid. They kind of go hand in hand, but the students have to be 16, so we can offer those during the school day. And the other one is EMT, which, as Manny said, is you have to be 18 or older, so we make more sense to do it after the school day and open it up to the community.
But it's 18 to sit for the national exam or state exam.
Right, and so
You could have a 17 and a half.
you could, but just the population served at the high school, it'd be tough to fill the spot.
Yeah.
But what we're in our advisory committee, both Ski Patrol and the fire department were saying we can't get them. Like the Ski Patrol wants their patrollers to be EMTs, and the vast majority are, and so that's a big leg up for any student that wants to go that route. And they were saying the EMT for the fire department is such a high turnover position that they don't have dozens and dozens of jobs at any given time, but they do have a constant need for them, and they're actually talking about reviving their pay call program as well, and this would be a component of that. So we have a lot of support from the local community.
Which is one of the reasons we chose healthcare, because we know there's gonna be all these avenues that kids can go to, because the reality is EMT's at entry level. Just like a CNA, entry level, and then that's why they have the turnover, probably because they move on. They move on, but they go to nursing, whatever they do after that.
Jessica Gonzalez is a nurse over at the hospital, as well as Dr. Horner over there, and they both said for the MAs and CNAs, they said, we don't have a ton, but we can't get them. So, it was very validating to hear that need is right here in the valley, and that there was so much local support for it.
Edgar was kind enough to come out, Edgar looked at the property area and, you know, gave us a schematic that he needed, you know, and if we get approved, then Brian has done his job, and then it gets turned over to Jess, and Jess has to do her job at that point, you know, as far as getting it built at that point, if we get the grant. And then we get more into details, it's just, it's a rough schematic that has to be given of what it's gonna look like, and we'll get into more details later, as far as what that building will exactly look like.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, we have to approve the applications, so can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. All right, personnel report, management confidential. So item 16.
What's under that though?
17,
Yeah.
the MOU.
Oh, just the MOU,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, that didn't look weird, that it was on. The MOU is just we, in negotiations, because we started negotiations, one of the things, the reason we have it coming forward as an MOU is because right now there was no base on what the teachers were getting paid for doing after school. Whether it was ELOP program or it was intervention, Saturday school, whatever it is, and one was getting one rate, another rate, the high school was getting one rate, and we needed to make that clear. One, how much prep time they were getting for, depending on the class, and then two, what was their pay rate, and we just needed to put that in writing in an MOU, making sure it works. That's why we put it in the MOU, year at a time, making sure it makes sense. If we have to fix it, we do it later. I will tell you, you know, Brian coming in on the team has been helpful as we enter into negotiations, going sometimes an MOU might be a better move on some of this stuff. That way, before we put it into contract, we don't. And it's messed up also, it's in contract, it's almost better to try something out for a year through an MOU, so you might see more of that in the future, that way we're not stuck in a contract with the union. We make sure it works, maybe we had a problem, maybe it didn't work out for union, and we can still renegotiate things that way. And then there's an end to it, and we renegotiate at that point, did it work, whatever it is. Right now, we needed to put something in place because there was too many different pieces of who was getting paid money. So we needed to put that thing together.
Can I get a motion to approve the MOU?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unopposed? Any suggestions for future board meetings?